Welcome back to SlingLure, fellow stone lovers. We endured many hardships and made many heroes, but in the end we managed to prosper here, in this terrifying place. There is nowhere to go but up. Things have been going smoothly, building progresses, even if the wildlife still bothers us. And new believers in Dodok join us every day, praise our mock. Zanag and his squad have finally returned from their mission to raise the goblin settlement. But what was supposed to be a joyous day is instead a day of grieving, for we lost a recruit in the desperate fight to get out of there. Dodok says that it is nothing, that we shall overcome it, and that we shall try again soon. We thought we had fixed the problem with our boat, but that is not the case. Now that the ice has melted and the aquifer flows again, we saw that we need to wall off an entire new level of the moat. Today, Dodok decided to send out another mission to deal with the goblin menace, and he sent two of our three squads, which proved to be a mistake. For the were-chinchillas show great interest in our work and our forces, visiting us again and again. Will these monstrosities ever leave us in peace? What is it they find so attractive in our fortress? We gathered everyone in the hall, while our single defensive squad was called into action. But the darn thing was too quick, killing a visiting bard before making its escape. It will be back, we are sure of it, and we will catch it then. May you live in interesting times. A bard once told me of that curse. Not even a moment to rest, and the goblins arrive yet again. Our squads are still away on their mission. We can't face these numbers with a single squad of recruits. Oh, Armok, I pray our messages reach them in time. The goblins wish for a parley. Let us hope Dodok can stall the negotiations long enough. Praise Armok. Zanag and his squads have returned, and just in time. They arrived right next to the goblins, but managed to sneak by unseen. Now we prepare for tomorrow's battle. And while in the middle of this crisis, one of our brothers took the opportunity to betray us. Taking advantage of the confusion, he tried to steal our precious figurine. And it had to be a greedy human who corrupted him, of course. The bastard was killed, and the thief will get the beating of a lifetime. And how ironic, betraying us to steal the very symbol of what we do with traders. Now he shall see what we do with thieves. A lifetime of hard labor, hauling stone blocks forever. Now going back to the invasion. The goblins were kind enough to get sick with the mud while all of this was going on. The plan was to use the mud to our advantage, but the thief distracted us. Now all we can do is wait for them to disperse, and then strike. We butchered them like pigs, but not without a few losses. 3 recruits and a civilian. They will get a grand town. But dozens of goblins were killed, and look at all that metal for our forges. This day was indeed a victory. Oh Armok, why do you test us so? Today was a real horror. A pack of giant dingoes were drawn to our fortress by the smell of blood, falling upon our unsuspecting civilians, who were out looting the battlefield. Almost a dozen dead before our soldiers arrived on the scene. You cannot imagine our anger. We hunted down every single one of those accursed beasts, but the tight angry knot deep inside me remains. The masons will have plenty of work, so many coffins to make, so many tombs to plan. It seems almost every day one of our brothers is put to rest. Why are things so agitated all of a sudden? At least the faithful still come. The meat of the dog in SlingLure is an alluring one, a sharp rock standing against the waves. And soon we are back to our full strength. Another day, another horror. One more were-chinchilla snuck up on us. Several dwarves and visitors were killed. We rushed out to defend them, but the foul beast made its escape after filling its belly. With all this excitement, our grand entrance is looking very presentable indeed. I mean, you can't even walk without stepping on a body. Oh, and don't mind the leaky moat. I can't even properly pray to our mock these days. The noise from the continuous construction in the crypt below is too much. And now we even have dwarves killing other dwarves in massive brawls. The mood in the fortress is really going downhill fast. At least the merchants still visit us, bringing precious metals for our forges. Thankfully they don't mind walking all over the dead bodies. Why, Armok? How have we, that work in your name, offended you? Nalarosh, the giant eagle, has butchered two dwarves. Zero, our glass worker, and Endok, one of our founders and my friend. He deserved a glorious death, not being attacked from above, alone and unarmed. Dodok has ordered the construction of a grand tomb, fit for a dwarf of his station. As I've said before, work never stops here in SlingLure, and we now have a new farm area, as well as a barn for the animals, and all the new brothers are quickly put to work. Endok's tomb is finished, and it is opulent indeed, featuring two silver statues as well as the first gold statue we have made. The entire floor is a mural depicting the story of his life. I shall visit here often. This latest brawl really took the wind out of me. It was started by Olin, the bard, that we invited into our fold so many years ago. Two dwarves were killed. That traitor, oh, the beatings you will get before we shove him out the door to die out there in the wasteland. Will this carousel of death ever stop? More dingoes, more eagles, and even more dead. If it wasn't for Dodok's stout leadership, this fortress would have already been falling apart. Some of our brothers are truly unbelievable. Instead of using any of the well-appointed bathhouses, they instead decided to take a dip in the beach, in the middle of all this insanity. And then the idiots got spooked by an agitated weasel, falling into our moat and being dragged down by the currents. 3 dead dwarves because of a weasel. Will the work on our tombs ever stop? The bodies are starting to rot in our morgue. Even the ice is dangerous here. 4 dead dwarves, frozen to death. And even the poor cheetah we rescued from the elves is constantly under siege. We now have to rescue even our guard animals. Those damned eagles. What is the point of our moat if you're just going to fly over it? At least our new tomb for the victims of the goblin siege is done. With iron statues and floors, it is a proper place for our martyrs. But it seems all we do now is fight and build tombs. With so many distractions, we could not finish the work on our moats. We really need to do something about this. Work has been going so much slowly now. Between the monsters, the invasions, the deaths, plus the toxic mud raining down on our heads, we barely get time to do anything. Our tavern, which used to be so full, so loud, so interesting, now lays almost abandoned. This used to be such a happy place. Yet, despite all these dangers, even more fools arrive, believing all the tales Dodok makes sure to spread. Brawls have become so commonplace, bodies now lay unnoticed in the middle of our streets. Just one more martyr for the cause. And then, of course, the goblins arrive yet again. It seems our raids are taking a toll on them, for they sent only a small party this time, and the soldiers simply rush them without the care for any plan. One dead dwarf, a recruit, for only half a dozen goblins. What is one more in the sea of dead bodies? Those soldiers are getting more and more ferocious, putting down any creature that dares enter into our perimeter. Meanwhile, work continues on the keep. Used to be our keep. Now it is Dodok's keep. Why is it a priority? Why are we not working on our defenses, only on tombs and luxurious keeps? One small distraction today. We gathered at the edge of the walls, watching as one of those accursed giant eagles battled against some dingo men. And then the humans arrived. One of the guards, a crossbowman, really put on a great show, putting down beast after beast. The work on our tombs really never does stop. Another brawl today, and another grand tomb to build. Mono, one of our founders, the legendary engraver, is dead. Meanwhile, raids continue to be sent out. As soon as two squads return, the other two set out, in a constant state of war. This time the raids are sent against the elves our king has made peace with. Dodok said we must ignite the war and steer all the dwarves into action, and so our squads set out again, while the brawls and deaths continue. At least the caravans still come, and our raids are successful, bringing back loot and laying waste to enemy settlements. Dozens of dead elves for a single recruit. A worthy trade, says Dodok, as he congratulates Zanag and sends out the other squads to attack the humans. The goblins must have been waiting in the woods, for they used this as an opportunity to launch a surprise raid, killing some civilians before being put down. And then came the elves, attempting a surprise ambush, but they were spotted. The soldiers have really become bloodthirsty, with dozens of kills each. They did not even gather, just rushed out in a berserker rage, hacking and slashing their way through the mob of elven scum. Locum, a mercenary from our first migrant group, put up an amazing show. Alone against a sea of elves, he killed one elf after the other, before being speared from multiple sides. A true legend, he scored almost 70 kills in his life. Dodok and Zaneg ordered a new Grand Tomb, the grandest yet. At least this amazing dwarf will be honored, together with the other fallen soldiers of this siege. His amazing struggle is a true reflection of our life here. Meanwhile, our raid returns, a great success they say, and the new one sets out against more goblins. But I cannot bring myself to care anymore. And then the humans arrived, of course. Their army must have been in the field, and they are not to be taken lightly. The greatest amount of warriors we will face yet, and all of them well armed. But the fools wished for a parley with Dodok. Doesn't everyone know by now? Dodok does not negotiate, he merely delays them until our squads return from their mission. When their assault began, the fools had a plan. They dismounted and sent out a herd of frenzied horses ahead of their forces, hoping to trample our dwarves. The fools. Sick with the toxic mud, they put up little resistance. Only one dwarf perished in the fight. And did I mention we are flooding the world again? The war against the elves, goblins, and humans continues, both abroad and at home. They attacked us on two fronts, attempting to flank us, but were quickly butchered by the sanguine soldiers. What madness is this? Today the dog set out another raid against a dwarven hall. Has he no mercy? Finally, I have two good things to tell you today. For once, I am not just recording deaths and violence. The moat is finished, water no longer leaks, ice no longer claims dwarven lives. And second, our metalsmith building is finally done. Down here, we have our grand entrance, with gem pillars and iron statues leading to our forges. Up above, we have our anvils and our lavishly appointed hall, with a balcony overlooking the town, followed by our private bedrooms, and a temple to our gods, the god of metal. I barely got the time to enjoy my new quarters before the most serious threat yet arrived. Dwarves, almost 100 of them, clad in the finest steel. Dodok succeeded in waking up the hornet's nest, and now it will try to sting us. How many dwarves will lose their lives here today? Their army was at our gates when a surprising new foe appeared. The elves were waiting in ambush, ready to strike. So we took this opportunity and attacked while they were distracted. Oh, Armok, are you pleased? We do this in your name. Dozens upon dozens of dead dwarfs. Hundreds of bodies lay at our gates. Dodok now claims you speak to him directly when he wanders the crypts alone, that you gave him a clear mission, and nothing must stop us, that we will succeed, and all our pain will be worth it in the end. Is it true? Give me a sign, mighty Armok. I need a sign. In the midst of all this, Dodok ordered the construction of a new monument, a statue garden. In the center is the iron statue of the great hero who defended off dozens of elves alone. The Bane of Elves, he is now called, surrounded on all sides but standing firm against the tide. A memorial to inspire our troops and induce awe in our new followers. But I only feel grief. What new horrors will this world surprise us with? An undead hydra, a true terror from the darkest pits of hell. Zanak tried to gather the soldiers, but Sigun was having none of it. He charged the beast alone. A legendary dwarf became even more of a legend, as he chopped off one body part after another, before his brothers arrived to finish the job. And without a second to breathe, another terror assails us. The were-chinchilla. He took advantage of our frozen mode to scale up our walls, jumping right into our busiest walkway. We killed it, but it resisted quite a while, injuring several dwarves. Infection cannot be allowed to spread, so Dodok ordered them into a new squad, to be sent out on a permanent raids. They are to rampage across the goblin and elven lands, in dwarf shape, or not. The mood around here is very tense. Fights and murders abound. The hammer cannot even keep pace. Meanwhile, our raids continue unabated, and so do the enemy raids of our lands. The construction of Dodok's opulent keep has become a priority, while our crypts grow ever larger. Armok, why do you forsake us? Some dwarves hid their wounds they suffered from the were creature. The cowards. They knew they were infected, and yet they remained, turning into monsters all of a sudden. More dwarves are sent out on permanent raids. The doctor is examining every dwarf for wounds, but there are so many. Please, Armok, I beg you, save us from this curse. At the very least, we completed the tomb of the Elven Bane, decorated with plenty of gold, silver, and iron. Oh, how I prayed. Yet the workers remains among us. Each time there are more. Bodies now litter our streets, our temples, our tavern. This is not the vision we set up for. Yet Dodok still sends out more raids. Construction goes on, as if nothing is happening. Armok will protect the faithful, he says. But this cannot be Armok's will. This madness has gone on long enough. I must prepare my escape. This whole plan was idiotic. What was I thinking? I will return to an underground hall, where I will be safe and find peace for once. I must wait for the perfect chance, then I will make my escape. The infected are everywhere now. Dodok himself is dead. The creatures walk among us, frothing the corner of their mouths, while the rest walk with glazed eyes. Bodies are piled high, and miasma fills every room. I must escape. Most of the soldiers are infected. They were frightening before, but now they are no more than wild animals, swinging axes as they scream. Our fort is doomed. The next full moon is here. Zanaga and his beasts have taken charge. The mission does not change, he says, and a grand funeral is planned for Dodok. This is my chance. There will be no better one. I put out the fire in my forge, the last one still burning. We started so well. Our mission was just. But what did we turn into? I will never forgive my part in this. I too fell for Dodok's sweet words. I too guided the lambs to the slaughter. It was not Armok that whispered in Dodok's ears. It was Imram, the goddess of chaos, war, and valor. That accursed statue I made and we placed in our temple. We desecrated Armok's cathedral, and he abandoned us. All we wanted was to save Dwarfdom. But what horrors have we unleashed upon the world, here in SlingLure? An army of legendary soldiers, twisted into were creatures. Arbok save us all. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the content, please leave a like, subscribe, or just let me know what you thought. Keep chugging that plum ale wine, and see you next time.